Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be starting our brand new series of our dream account. We're going to be going through just all of our questing, all of our skills we need to work on, some money making methods, some ways to have fun, community involvement. I also kind of wanted to do this series as a half twisted bow build as well as a half dream account kind of series. And so I think to start off, let's just go over some of the things with the T-bow series that I want to cover. I took the 23 different skills there were and divided it by the 1700 mil that it is for the T-bow, and I came out to roughly 70 mil per skill. And I wanted to kind of showcase a lot of different methods and money-making ways for each skill specifically that we can employ as we build towards that twisted bow. Taking a quick look at my bank here, though, 760 mil, nothing crazy, just some supplies, runes, some basic Barrows armor, Zenite jewelry, etc. A lot of quested items. I'd like to kind of catch back up from the hiatus I haven't played in the last year or so since they dropped the new Varlamore update and Desert Treasure 2 and a couple other quests and everything. So I kind of wanted to just do a catching back up and getting myself reacclimated with grinding on my account. And I think that with the different ways to make money towards this T-bow, I wanted to spend as long as it took in each skill doing various different methods to try to make that 70 mil that it's going to cost. And actually, here's a little foreshadowing into what this video might have in it. But with the 70 mil that it takes from each skill, I think if we go through and do a bunch of different methods in terms of money making, fast, slow, old school methods, fast, slow, free-to-play methods, and we really kind of bring it all together, I think that would just be a really awesome way to go about getting a T-bow versus just your standard old, Vorkath, Zora. It's fun to just be able to get your stats up and be able to go ahead and make money at the same time while also still engaging in content that you might not necessarily do just, in your day-to-day base. Sometimes I don't really find myself adventuring into Feldip Hills or Karamja for stuff, if it's not the meta, this and that. And I personally enjoy doing all that kind of stuff. And coming back to old school RuneScape, I really think that the essence of what old school RuneScape is to really just enjoy the adventure itself, make friends along the way, get new gear upgrades, and work hard to try to get things that might help you in this situation or that situation. And, you die here and you can't end up doing this, and it's so much fun to just figure out new builds and train your stats. And sometimes it isn't always just fun to be locked into doing a single thing to try to make money with a goal being so far away. So it's fun to be able to experience the stuff that kind of can get you there in small steps. I really did want to come back pretty strong here with getting my account back to where I kind of want it to be at before I start doing this grinding. Unfortunately, I added a ton of quests since I've played, Desert Treasure 2 being one of them, and I thought it would be a cool start to go ahead and kind of just put in some clips of me knocking that out. It wasn't anything super duper hard. It was a really awesome quest. I've got to give my hats off to the quest developers for this because honestly, it did have the same feel. Unfortunately, now with my account being significantly better stats and a lot better gear, it wasn't the same nerve-wracking feeling of doing Desert Treasure the first time on an account with no defense and just 43 prayer and barely access to good enough gear to really effectively do the bosses over and over, and just the fear of being so far away from a bank and watching other people level 40s with mystics at Castle Wars. And there was just so much nostalgia to doing Desert Treasure 1 that I think honestly they did do a great job with Desert Treasure 2 in terms of making the bosses hard enough that it does feel engaging and like you are really conquering a new quest and finishing something that you kind of had started before with the first Desert Treasure. The lore and everything was also pretty awesome. I think just overall they did a great job. The mechanics on the bosses seemed pretty new and fair. I will say that the Whisper was a little bit questionable towards the end, but everything else, I think, really, they kind of knocked it out of the park. On this first time, I was really trying to just get it while doing all the rest of the questing and stuff, and I really hadn't watched a guide or anything going into this. I was just using the quest helper on the side, and it was a lot of fun, kind of just going in blind. You know, I really wasn't sure what to expect. I've seen a couple videos of what's going on with Vardoris, but for the most part, I purposefully tried to keep myself away from it so I could experience it myself for the first time. And going into it, you know, I felt pretty confident in my own abilities to do it, while also it being a pretty good challenge with a lot of stuff that I wasn't sure what was happening. You know, I'm not sure what was going on with the axes and the bleed damage, and you have to, it says here on the side with the quest helper, you kind of got to, like, switch over to range prey and stuff, and all in all, it was a great fight. Unfortunately, I did kind of forget the clip recording it because I had to go and do something, and then I came back, and I was so consumed by just doing it, I just went ahead and knocked it out. But all in all, it was a great fight. Now, heading over to the Leviathan area, this was, you know, when I was doing the first part, I was thinking to myself, actually, like, wow, I'm impressed that they didn't add a bunch of, like, random running around and shit, and, like, talk to this person, go talk to that person. I was surprised they didn't really add any of that, you know, considering all the other quests they've been adding, like Song of the Elves and stuff. You have all these, like, extremely arduous, long, repetitive parts where you're running around and putting books in places, and I was like, oh, okay, here it is. So, yeah, they ended up actually still adding something like that. So you got to go through and do this little puzzle here and run through these different areas, and you got to fight these dogs and stuff. I guess they're trying to, like, attack this pillar, and you have to try to fend them off. It isn't anything super duper crazy difficult, but I'm sure that with less gear than I have and less stats, honestly, this would be a difficult quest for sure. You know, if you did have to come in here with, you know, Bear Prayer, 43, etc. And so, I mean, I think really they did do such a great job with this. It was a lot of fun going through this. You know, I didn't feel actually like, unfortunately, like Sins of the Father and Song of the Elves, those two quests felt so much like a challenge in the task in terms of just like, you have to run so many places that are so far away from a bank, and you have to do so many different, like, repeatable, failable type mission/obstacles. It was just kind of a pain in the ass more than it was fun and engaging. Whereas, honestly, I felt like Desert Treasure 2, it really didn't feel unengaging. It was pretty fun, you know, the whole time. It was pretty nice to just kind of pace it out and have a good time. Now, coming up here into my first attempt at the Leviathan, I was not entirely sure what to go with, but I did see again on the side that it says the shadow spells will stun it. I'm just going to let this play for a second because I think, honestly, after kind of trying to read what was happening and just going for it, this was my favorite out of all the fights in terms of how good/fun they did on it. This was a really awesome fight. I'm like, hey, alright, hold on now. It's certified, I'm a shaker. I can eat pretty good, though. I'm like, man, I need to summon this dude ASAP. I'm like, you know what, 100 HP? Maybe I got this still. Alright, yeah, no, he fried me. The good news is I came back, I was like, honestly, with the shadow spells, I don't think it's going to be super duper helpful, just because it's hard to try to interrupt him, and then he can use a special attack and keep doing it. And I was like, I'm just going to go with the Trusting Thralls, man. Go pure range damage, man, you can't go wrong. Cut the bull pipe out. Yeah, I think all in all, just really pay attention to your prayers. Try to just make sure you're potted up. Use your blood bolts right at the beginning if you're really struggling for damage, but just make sure you're eating the full in between each special segment. And really focus on what prayers he's hitting. Oh, it turns out you can melee if you step too close, actually. Probably the only person who's ever made that mistake, actually, but it's alright. Okay, that got a little scary for a second.
wasn't sure what to do here mechanic-wise. I wasn't sure what was going on with that orb, but towards the end I was like, you know what, I think maybe I need to try to stand in it. Then, yep, I start getting some nice XP drops, end up getting the kill, and getting on out of there. As soon as you teleport out, though, as you're running back to try to put the medallion in, you get attacked by this assassin dude who is like tri-breeding with range mage and whatever spear he's using, and he prays against you. He's not super duper hard to take care of, but he's kind of scary if you aren't ready for him, so just be aware. Now, one of the things that I'm really excited for about this series is it's going to showcase a lot of stuff that I feel like people kind of have forgotten to do, you know. Just, I'm going to try to go through and do every single method I can come up with in terms of the old school, you know, best in slot, if you will, money per hour, and trying to do every single skill to make money to get a T-bow. Now, unfortunately, since some of the skills, there's not necessarily like a best in slot per hour, but I'm going to go ahead and do different challenges slash bosses for those skills. So, quickly running through the list here. With attack, strength, defense, prayer, range, magic, and hit points, we're going to leave those out for now. However, I did use those to calculate the 70 mil per skill. But then with every other skill, my goal is to go ahead and do whatever is, you know, just the best and try to make 70 mil as fast as I possibly can in each skill and take you guys on the trip with me, you know, whether that be us doing, you know, I don't want to spoil it, but I have something coming up where I'm going to be doing, you know, old school shark cooking, you know, on Neotsnot, where I'd really like to just kind of re-explore some of the things that kind of brought us all to want to play RuneScape anyway when it was first enacted, you know, and it's just been such a great game to come back to over the years and think about the way that I want to progress my own account and the way that, you know, I like playing with my friends who I've played with and the people I've met and all the different ways there are to do the things that you like doing and ways to express your account. And there's just so many cool ways to play RuneScape, you know. I've always kind of wanted to make some videos that documented kind of what was going on for me, because it's just always been fun to share it with other people, you know. Making guides, kind of walking people through things, helping people out with bosses they aren't sure of. Because, man, I've been there, you know, through everything, honestly. You know, I've failed Jad many times. I haven't beat the Infernal Cape yet. You know, there's a lot of things still to do, and it's always awesome to get to experience that with other people. But kind of finishing up Gorok Prison here. We ran through, defeated that mage dude. We just killed Duke, and now we're about to head out of here. Jagex is pretty sneaky with this, though, because they put the next instance of you fighting the assassin inside of your house. Now, I didn't notice this, but he actually says nice house in the chat as he's invading you here. So I kind of was panicking a little bit. I was like, oh, what the fuck? So I stepped out. I actually went back in to make sure that, you know, if he's going to be there again. Because honestly, I probably don't have the supplies for it right here. It's like, all right, this motherfucker's here. And he even says I'm still here. So I'm like, all right, man, I'm just going to go bank somewhere else. And I'll come back. And I'll get bro out of my crib. So yeah, I just regear real fast. End up frying this dude real quick. You know, man, he ain't got nothing on me. I tried to use the pool while I was in the middle of this, but yeah, unfortunately, you cannot use the pool while you're in combat. Surprise, surprise. Go ahead and go back, put the medallion in, and now going through the Undercity, Lasara Undercity, it was really cool, but let's go ahead and cut to the cool parts here. It's me fighting the Whisper. Man, this is an interesting boss, you know. I was really unsure what the hell I was really trying to do, like pressing that little activatable inside of your inventory and dodging the enemies, and between the sanity bar. It was a really cool fight, though. I mean, again, I think this all really just concludes just, man, DT2 was just an awesome ride. You know, I think they did a wonderful job with the quest in general. Okay, yes sir, got the kill. Grab a couple long swords bro dropped for me. And now we are out of here. Pool up, and it is time to go turn this in. Gear for this very last fight and claim the title of Defender of the desert again. Gearing up real fast in my Void. I think Void's great for questing, you know, because you can do these things. It's pure anyway, so honestly, if you can just wear essentially a little bit of armor and a bunch of bonuses, Void is all in all just really nice. This dude was a little bit harder here because he had this other special attack where you gotta step away, and he's essentially protecting from melee damage while not praying against it. So he was actually a little bit harder here. I was kind of greedy. I was like, I'm going to try to go for it, though. Oh, no, I went ahead and said, no, I'm going to go ahead and bank up right now. Yeah, but then you just got to fight these assassins. Like, these little foreshadow dudes are nothing. You know, they could definitely be problematic if you're on a pure or on a some type of restricted account. But yes, for the most part, pretty easy. You just got to keep yourself out of the dangerous tiles, you know. You're praying range against all of them and mage against the last one. But with my goals and expectations is that I'd like to really kind of bring it back to, you know, where RuneScape is something fun to play. And I can log in and just be excited to see the people in the community, be excited to do something and have a little bit of fun, you know, and grind towards something that's bigger than myself, you know. Getting a T-bow means that I can do raids with the community and teach people more, and I can use up, you know, it's just all sorts of things, man. It's just a really awesome, kind of small version of life, you know, inside of RuneScape that you kind of get to enjoy with everybody else and create your own character and adventure. So I don't want to go too far into detail in this first episode with it, because I'll explain it a lot more in each episode as we start going through what exactly is going to be the money makers. But right here, unfortunately, I'm trying to get my thieving up. I don't have high enough thieving to do what is the best moneymaker per hour for thieving quite yet. So I went ahead and said, yeah, I'll just go ahead and hit the pyramid a couple times and see what's going on over here. Do a little bit of thieving if you can. This is pretty easy. You bring anti-poisons, a little prayer regen, some stamina, so a little bit of food. And you're just going to get to the highest 2 rooms you can and then loot all the urns. If you want, you can loot all the chests in the middle to try to get the Pharaoh Scepter, but I would recommend that, honestly. That and the sarcophaguses in the last 2 rooms. All in all, it's definitely a very chill method. You get 10,000 experience per run at level 70, and each run takes 6 minutes. So it's pretty good, honestly. You're getting roughly 100,000 XP per hour. Now, in the next video, that's not going to be our intro video, we're going to start actually diving right in with what I got planned for the 70 mil per skill. I'm going to do a nice refresher in terms of the rules and kind of how this is all going to break down mathematically, but it's going to be really awesome because we are going to jump right in with a super old school method, and that is fishing. We are going to just go ahead and fish our hearts out. We're going to just do as much as we can, and now that's again once we get to 84th even. For now, we're going to just be doing as much progress as we can in terms of getting boss KC for the combat achievements, as well as trying to make a little bit of money, because I would like to go with, for the combat skills, doing a different style of boss for each skill. So for attack, I want to do low tier bossing. For strength, I want to do mid tier bossing. And then for high tier, I want to do hit points. I want to try to make 70 mil doing each of those different methods. And then for my prayer cape, or I'm sorry, for the prayer skill, I'd really like to try to spend 70 hours beating the Inferno towards the end. You know, once we've kind of acquired different gear and gone on our journey, gotten our skills up, it'd be awesome to use prayer as a time to go ahead and spend time at the Inferno. And then I think for magic and range, as well as defense, we're just going to do each of the different raids. And I think for Slayer, to make Slayer a little bit more interesting, I'm going to do Wilderness Slayer for all of it, for the 70 mil. That way it's just a nice switch up, because yeah, you can run regular tasks and stuff, but we'll do anti-PKing while we're doing the bossing. So in the background here, I thought it'd be a good time to also just finish out while Guthix sleeps to get the XP, the thieving XP, thankfully. This boss right here was actually kind of challenging. His quick switches and stuff, he was really throwing me for a little bit of a loop with the drain your prayers if you miss the right attack. All in all, I think this is another well-designed quest. This one was a little bit more run-aroundy, but all in all, still good. And you get to fight tormented demons. Yeah, this was a really fun quest, all in all. To finish up with the series, though, I'll definitely be going into depth at the beginning of each episode, what exactly we're going to be tackling with each of the skills. But all in all, I really just want to take this time to take everybody on an adventure as we try to build the best account that we can, and we try to use all the method that the game has to make that money. You know, make the money for skills, make the money for gear, and just try to do it in a way that's not just, you know, grinding one thing with one goal in mind, you know. I want to just have fun, make friends along the way, do quests, get crazy drops, you know. I want to just kind of do it all, man. Go to the total worlds, go PK with people that I meet, you know, die to PKers probably, unfortunately, kill PKers, you know what I'm saying? Like, just do it all, man. It's just such an awesome game as a small version of life. And I can't wait to document this journey and share it all with you guys. If you want to follow along too, hopefully this shows you guys some different ways to, you know, make money and different ways to have fun. Maybe you need to level up a skill and you're not sure which way you want to do it, and, you know, you don't know about a certain money-making method. Maybe I can discover some of those for us, you know. Discover some ways for us to get XP and do things we ain't never done before. You know, you tired of grinding Guardians of the Rift? Me too. I've only done it 10 times, but I'm already tired of it. So it's like, yeah, I just can't wait to do this. It's been so much fun editing these videos as well, and just being able to recap and rewatch the ways that I feel about RuneScape. Because, man, honestly, as much hate as jagex gets, this game really does feel like such a story as you're playing. You know, you really build your own character and do quests and have all this stuff that you can do, and it's just such a great experience to get to go through, and getting to edit the videos too is so much fun. You get to really see and kind of add the flips and like the actual ways that you think about stuff. You can put it into the video. You know, it's hard still, of course, you know, and I'm gonna learn a lot as I go through, but it's just really cool, and especially to then be able to share it with other people, you know, because this is a snapshot of what it looks like to be in the adventure that is my RuneScape account, you know. I like to go through and I like to go and fight the bosses, you know. I mean, I feel like in a very role-playeristic perspective, you know, I mean, I spent a lot of time mining. It's nice to be able to go use that mining skill to fight a boss, you know. And then to, you know, further on that, then take the ore that I get from that boss and go and use that for this. You know, it's very Iron Man-esque, don't get me wrong. But the purpose isn't because I want to make this an Iron Man account as a main. The purpose is that it's a lot of fun to be able to actually enjoy the game fully, you know. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for now, guys. I'd like to just say thanks so much, everybody, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your days.